Hey guys, I'm back with some more art, another draw with me, and in this video I'll be studying some horses for an upcoming acrylic painting while I talk about how I get through an art block. I hope you guys enjoy watching, and I highly encourage you all to draw or work on a project with me, or just sit back and relax and watch me sort of figure out how to draw horses. Still need some practice, but I had a lot of fun drawing them in this video. In the outfit designing video, the fashion cowboy one, I mentioned talking about art block or creative block being solved through exercise, and I wanted to dive a little bit deeper and open up a conversation about how I get through a creative block and ask you guys down below in the comments what you do to get past it. First, I want to talk about how I try to prevent art block. This typically involves maintaining good creative health through taking breaks, indulging in my favorite media, like favorite books, movies, TV shows, music, and just overall maintaining a good work-life balance. If you're potentially wanting art to be your career or part of your career, I think it's extremely important to develop healthy work habits so that you can work more sustainably over time. Furthermore, a lot of you guys do artwork on the side, but I still think it's good to take breaks when things are becoming frustrating or when you are feeling lost with your own work. I know it's definitely easier said than done. I tend to get swallowed up in my artwork for hours, not taking breaks, but putting preventative measures in place can reduce a lot of burnout and overall lead to more fulfilling work and ease of creation. So make sure you make time to hang out with friends or family or get some sort of social outlet, maybe a couple times a week, along with getting out of the house, which is extremely hard for myself to do. Just experience life and do fun things that can help keep your inspiration fueled and give your mind a break from constantly producing. Or if social outings and interactions don't make you feel the best, recharging through playing your favorite video games, reading your favorite books, exercising, catching up on your watch later playlist on YouTube, or a new hobby you always wanted to try could allow your mind to have a break from constant creative output. I recommend trying to incorporate these things between your art making sessions, and hopefully it should help, just trying to maintain a good balance of everything so art block has less of a chance of occurring. But I also wanted to mention that sometimes outside factors can lead to art block or creative block, and a lot of times it could be something you can't control. If your mental and physical condition isn't the best, it can definitely lead to feeling more negatively towards your art and feeling stuck. Anxiety, depression, your living situation, relationships, and physical illness can definitely prevent you from creating as much as you did in the past. I know I struggle cyclically with PMS symptoms around my menstrual cycle. Typically, the week leading up to my period and the week of my period, I tend to be overly critical and negative towards myself and my artwork, and often have some minor anxiety and go through little bits of depression during that time. I tend to lose a lot of my creative spark and would sort of go into a mini art block due to my lack of confidence in my art, as well as just not feeling good physically. I feel like everything I make is horrible during that time and that I'm a bad artist, when it's really my changing hormones. If you're a creative person who also has a cycle, I would really try to keep track of how you're feeling week to week in relation to your cycle and see if you feel different ways. It really helps to keep you centered and explain why you're feeling a certain way about your artwork or about yourself through different times. It's definitely not you, it's your body just throwing curveballs, and it's important to acknowledge that you can't help that your body is going through that, and to give yourself a break and to give yourself understanding. As for people who routinely struggle possibly with depression or anxiety, or have other factors in your life that you can't control and it makes it hard to create, I would take it easy on yourself. You are still an artist even if you haven't created in months. I would encourage you to talk to a trusted adult or friend, as well as seek professional help if that's a possible option for you. Art can wait. Your health is your wealth. It's better to focus on healing and becoming healthier than to spend time forcing yourself to be productive and creative. On the other hand, art can be used as a tool to work through emotions and to heal, but don't let it become a thing that you have to work on and that has to be productive. All right. Moving on to if I am in a creative block, how I get out of creative block. Sometimes it can just seem to come out of nowhere, and I think it's perfectly normal to go through this as an artist from time to time, so I'll be going through a list of what usually helps me. This isn't prescriptive in any way. It may not work for you, but this is just what works for me, and I hope you're able to get something out of it or learn a new trick to get back to drawing. And make sure to comment down below if you have any ideas. I would love to hear them, and it'd be great if we could all like share our ideas together and hopefully learn from one another. Yeah, first tip, take a break. Most of us who catch the dreaded art block mostly get it from overworking. Sometimes our brains just need a couple days to recharge from constant creative output. It is tempting to keep on pushing and force ourselves to create, but sometimes the best thing we can do is step back from what we're working on. I know I tend to just try and be stubborn and push through and want to get stuff done and as a workaholic, but it can definitely make things worse over time. However, this doesn't mean you can't stop creating in general. If you still want to keep your hands moving, I'd suggest maybe redrawing an old piece. You don't have to come up with an idea, it's already there, so significantly less creative energy is required to make something. Also, I know for me, it's super encouraging and confidence building to redraw an old piece and notice how much your skills have improved, and that might be just what you need to get back into creating more regularly. Overall, I'd emphasize again that maybe you just need a break from creating in general. Don't have this expectation over yourself to constantly be producing artwork and doing things. I know I always hold myself to that expectation, but it's definitely not healthy. It's okay to take a couple days off or even a couple weeks off, especially if art making isn't your job or occupation. Rest is incredibly important in our lives, like across the board, and resting from things that are typically fun or that you enjoy doing is equally important. For example, if you enjoy doing a sport or love exercising, it's important to have designated times of rest so that you don't overtrain and stifle your progression. Oftentimes, overworking or overtraining may lead to an even worse performance in the future, and the same can apply to a creative endeavor. Along with doing like a complete rest, you could also maybe switch art mediums and take a break from what you're currently doing. Like if you've been drawing a lot digitally, maybe switch to traditional. If you're painting in pastels, maybe switch to watercolor, or maybe try a new medium entirely. I think that switching your focus on what you're creating to how you're creating can lead to new ideas and give you a new perspective with your art making routine, and maybe even spark some ideas and get you back into a creative flow. I always think of that one scene in Big Hero 6 where Tadashi kind of turns Hiro upside down, and like, I can't remember the exact quote, but just like talking about looking at things from a different direction or a little perspective change can be incredibly helpful with trying to figure out an idea or just getting like a creative spark of some sort. All right, moving on. Tip number 2, do focus studies and practice technique, so like non-imaginative work. Maybe your creative block is stemming from lack of skill in an area, or you just don't know what to draw. I find that it's helpful that in the meantime of you going through all this to take some online classes, like online art classes, looking up tutorials online like on YouTube, or just drawing from observation and pulling from what's around you and sharpening your skills, making it easier to convey your more complex ideas in the future. Finally tackle that thing you're scared to draw. Maybe it's hands, maybe it's like clothing. I know for me it's clothing. I always dread doing clothing just because I don't understand it as well. Folds don't come as naturally to me, but taking the time to like hone in on a skill and really understanding that concept can give you greater confidence and inspiration to work on a project in the future. You can study anatomy, study clothing design, study your favorite artists by trying to recreate their work. Usually you should keep this for your own personal collection and not to post without credit or claim as your own. Some artists strictly request that you do not redraw their work and post it, so make sure to respect the artist's wishes. But overall, we're not looking for perfection in this, we're looking for progress. Purely working on like technical skill and not having to use our creative brain as much. Furthermore, I know I've learned so much from other artists looking at their process, so maybe watch a draw with me or paint with me session and really pay attention to their steps and how they lay on colors and draw certain things. Learning from demonstration can be really helpful and open up your creative mind for other processes that might work better for you that you hadn't even thought of. I also want to mention that setting some goals or implementing some structure to your creative process can really lead to a lot more finished work and a clear body of work. I think I mentioned this in prior videos, but sometimes art block and not knowing what to create can come from not having a clear purpose with what you want to create. So I would suggest, if you're like an illustrator, maybe pick a story you really want to illustrate and do that, or a certain focus in your artwork and plan that out and do a bunch of studies surrounding that, so you're not feeling as lost or not knowing what to create. And I'll go into further depth in other steps, but yeah, that can also help as well. Okay, I think we're on tip number 3. Yes, the gym bro tip. So this tip is either going outside or exercising. I feel like this works almost every time I'm going through an art block or creative block. Just taking a walk outside can get the creative juices flowing. Something about the fresh air, nature, and changing your environment in turn changes your mindset and how you think. Like with the perspective thing, it's just like having a new look, a new surrounding can just jog some memories or ideas that can inspire you to create. Exercise is also a key part of my personal daily routine, and I've noticed that it influences my creativity. Moving your body can reduce a lot of stress and release endorphins, which can then lead to more creativity and confidence with your artistic abilities. Maybe it's the gym bro inside of me, or maybe I just enjoy exercising, but it's almost magical how much it helps me personally with my art making routine. And this type of exercise I'm talking about isn't like super crazy hard intense strength training where you almost pass out and you're about to throw up. I'm talking about going for like a relaxing walk in the morning or evening, because it's too gosh darn hot throughout the rest of the day. Oh my goodness, it's even been hot inside the house, so I can't imagine going outside for a walk. But anyways, doing stretches and feeling more connected to your body, or doing some more heart rate elevating things like a fun dance workout, or just putting on some good music and jamming out like it's your own mini concert, or just dance. That could also be fun. But yeah, something to just get your body moving so it gets your brain moving as well. Something gentle and easy to incorporate in your daily life. Okay, tip number 4. I hope I'm counting right because I didn't count them in my notes. Furthermore, if you're out of ideas or wanting to rest like we discussed in the first tip, indulging in new media, as in like movies, games, TV shows, books that you're excited about, or rediscovering old media from your childhood or from just a couple years ago, can jog a creative spark that might lead to maybe a whole series of drawings and paintings. Spending an afternoon watching a show or playing a video game that you love can remind you what you love about certain visual and written media. The characters and environments from your favorite stories or some new stories can inspire your own creations and remind you why you love creating in the first place. Revisiting childhood shows that made you want to become an animator, or replaying an open world RPG that inspired you to want to go into visual development work, or maybe even reading a favorite book that you always imagine illustrations for. The sense of reigniting the passion for drawing and painting and creating that has always been there. It just got hidden under art studies and improvement and other technicalities. So take some time to observe your favorite stories and discover some new ones. Make notes of what you like about them and how it might inspire your own work, but overall just enjoy them, let your inner child be curious and explore and just have fun, and just watch your favorite little silly show, or maybe even like have some of your favorite food. I feel like food can also be super inspiring. I feel like I'm a case study in that because of my fruit cowboys. I literally created strawberry salt because I love strawberries so much. So I was just like, I need to make like a persona of a strawberry, but also make him a cowboy. And that's just how that idea developed. And that's because I was inspired by food. Your favorite things can be very inspiring and lead to ideas that you would have never thought without taking the time to do that. Moving on to my final tip, I think, tip number 5. I feel like writing can also be a great tool in battling art block. I feel like this is similar to exercising for me. It also helps me get out of a creative funk. The power of brainstorming and basically word vomiting on a page always leaves me with more ideas than I know what to do with. So maybe you spent some time enjoying your favorite video game, comic, or movie, or a big bowl of strawberries, and now you have some ideas you want to jot jot down. I'd say go crazy and don't worry about it being coherent, especially if you're perfectionist like myself. Maybe scribble down some dialogue that you want to see between two characters, or jot down the description of a scene or a character. Compiling all these ideas can help you from getting stuck in the future when you don't have any ideas, and the actual literal act of writing can often lead to just more ideas. Typically for me, once I start writing my initial idea or note, I often find that a couple more ideas pop up in my brain as I start to ask questions like, where does this character live? What's their personality like? What if I made a painting about desire? Maybe a complementary painting about disgust? How would these characters portray those emotions? These ideas build up on top of each other, and the hardest part, I think, is just starting to write. Just getting those initial words on the paper is like the hardest part, but once you start writing, it just like, I don't know. This works for me. I don't know if everyone's like this, but I feel like once you get the ball rolling, it's super easy, and it's almost hard to like stop writing ideas because I end up having so many. And pretty soon you have developed a whole world and cast of characters to reference back to, which is super helpful in any sort of story-based work like illustration or animation or just narrative visual work. I highly recommend writing as a way to develop old and new ideas regarding what you're creating, and maybe just keeping a journal or a document on your computer to store and organize information for future reference. I know I used to write down a lot in my sketchbook, but I found myself forgetting that I've written down stuff or not being able to find certain ideas because they were hidden away in sketchbooks. So I really do feel like having something like Notion, where you kind of have like a database of like your different notes, can really help you stay organized and keep you from losing ideas that you were really excited about in the past. And that's it. Those are my tips for preventing and getting out of art block. I'd encourage you to try them out and discover what works best for you through experimentation and practice. Let me know if you guys have any proven ways to get out of an art slump down in the comments below. I would love to hear your guys' experiences. I also hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed the horse drawings. Like I said in the beginning, these are some studies for a future painting that I'll be showing more of the process of. In the next video, I'll be doing some more studies, including an actual painting study. So make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss that out. Also, follow me on Instagram for more frequent posts and updates, and consider subscribing to my email newsletter for future shop discounts and shop updates. I'm hoping to have another shop date maybe towards the end of July, so keep an eye out for that, and hope you guys have a good weekend. I'll see you in the next video, and yeah, that's it. Bye.